There's one video I've included on here specifically for Petrivka. Also, next week I'm hoping to do the TF2 episode. Brett is going to be the hardest to get, unfortunately, because he does stuff with Institute now. But I'm really hoping I can get former agents on.
I'm obviously not going to be there for that.
Yeah,
I've
that's
played
fine.
Team Fortress's games in my entire life, and both of them have been with you on your stream.
But yeah, so Petrivka, is there any way you can plan for that?
What am I planning for? Sorry.
Next week is the 50th episode. So for that, I want to do TF2 deep dive.
Okay.
Yeah. So
ooh, deep dive, huh?
So yeah.
Deep dive.
Looney and Lizzie, you were also agents. I was hoping you would be joining, and I'm going to try and get Brett, but he's hard to get on Wednesdays now, unfortunately.
Brett is breakfast, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Okay.
Breakfast.
No, I get it now. Is his last name Fest?
No, but it's okay. Who's clicking on stuff? Stop.
Sorry, I was just trying to add stuff. I accidentally hit the wrong button. My bad.
Throwing me off, man.
Splice. You can't make us. You can't tell us what to do.
I mean, I can. It doesn't mean you'll do it.
I mean, that's in fact telling us what to do is probably a surefire way of getting us not to do it. But yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I kind of went old school, and at least one person is going along one of the same lines as I am with Final Fantasy VI. But the other stuff I've got is really kind of old, most of it.
Yeah, I mean, my glitches were, I thought, maybe related to ROM issues, but, you know, sure.
I mean, that's kind of the basis of one of my big ones, so.
That was how I ended up with 999 Excaliburs and Ragnaroks and Final Fantasy VI.
So you and I are on the same page with that. Yep. I ended up with
for the show
99. Fine.
I just don't even remember how I got it. That's the funny thing.
It was overheating. That's what happened.
Yeah, I guess.
It was overheating in like some stats.
All right.
We'll save it for the show. Hold on. Let me jump over to Splice's kitchen and make a sandwich.
I don't have a kitchen. Baggins has a kitchen.
Hi, Kami.
Hey, Baggins. What's up?
How's it going?
Did we not install like the TARDIS kitchen into Splice's little area, or did we just not tell him that we have like a pocket dimension in one of his doors where a fully stacked out kitchen is?
I don't know. If you're making a sandwich, Jordan's stuff is over there in the.
Is that where the sandwich is?
Awesome.
Not that sandwich.
It sounds like it is that sandwich.
We have to make new sandwiches.
I have done nothing but teleport bread.
I mean, we never have to make new sandwiches, though.
This is a bucket. No. There's more. No.
Lunarsar, say something?
Something.
Acting? Natural?
All right, we all
Wow.
sound pretty decent.
Acting. Natural.
All right.
Which
These
movie is? I
pretzels
know
are
it's
making
animal,
me
but which?
thirsty.
It's the Muppets. The reboot.
Oh, it's the
Jason Segel one.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the TV show where I forget what the band was, but they're like, "Hey, Animal, anytime you want to come on tour with us." No, that's no good for Animal. He can't tour anymore. Yeah, too many women, too many towns, and it just got that far off like Vietnam look.
Yeah, but earlier y'all were talking about the most recent one because they never made one with Tina Fey in it after that, and there's never been any Muppet stuff since then.
What are you talking about? They had the fun.
Don't.
I got it.
The one with the band? That one, I actually quite enjoyed that series.
One with the band.
Yeah, it was a Disney Plus series. It
Yeah,
was Muppets
the
Mayhem, I think, or something like that.
I gave up on the Muppets when they had
No,
the,
it was the
the other Muppet
quote
show.
unquote docu series about Electric Mayhem.
Yeah, about Dr. Teeth and the band.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
done with the Muppets.
It was
I
fun.
don't care. It's not the Muppets to me anymore.
Okay, don't have fun. I won't force you to have fun.
You guys ready?
Yeah, I don't know. Is this going to be fun?
No fun zone.
All right.
Zero fun, sir.
Okay. Well, then I guess yes.
Excellent. When I was but a wee lad, probably in high school or middle school or something, I got this game called Pokemon. You may have heard of it. And my buddies told me about a glitch that you fly and you talk to the old man that teaches you how to catch Pokemon. Then you fly to Cinnabar Island and it'll copy, I believe it was the 6th item in your list. Now, they would always use it for Master Balls, which I thought was just lame. But I was more excited by the fact that you could face off against random Pokemon when it happened. And we thought this was maybe something they designed so for people who didn't have a friend with or a Game Link cable so they could try to catch all 151. What we didn't understand was this was not intentional. This was in fact a glitch. And this glitch, while it would tend to lead to wackiness on your regular game, it led to much worse if you did it while you were plugged into Pokemon Stadium, and it would brick your game. And that's why I was stuck at 149 Pokemon, never caught a Tauros, and I will eat Tauros burgers for that reason to punish them for it. This is episode 49 of I Think We Overleveled. We're talking about glitches in gaming. Did anyone else do the Missingo glitch?
I don't remember if I did or not. It's been so long.
I did not because I was afraid of bricking my game.
I tried to get the missing no. I ended up with like a level 133 Charizard, and I was happy with that.
Yeah, that's
my first Pokemon experience with Pokemon Go.
okay. No, this
Pokemon
was
Go to the polls.
Yeah, I didn't understand what was going on with this. This was one of those things where an older me would see that this was a red flag. Younger me did not. I thought this was fully intentional. I'm like, well, it can't just be some random coast that you have to surf on. Like, that'd be weird for that to randomly work. Little did I understand how old glitches worked. Old glitches were always weird overflow or underflow errors. Like maybe the most famous of the underflow and overflow errors, Minus World.
Oh, so we're just jumping right to the most notorious ones, are we?
I think this is just appropriate for the underflow. First, so this was all because basically what he's trying to do, I'm going to skip forward, a little too far forward. He's trying to go through the pipe because what's going to happen is if you squeeze through like this, the pipes never get assigned a number. And so when he goes into the pipe, it doesn't know where to go. And it ends up overflowing and displaying -1. And yeah. I never did this either.
I never did this, but I knew people who could do it, so that was an event in the neighborhood.
I really wish like they would on purpose design like a new Mario game that has a whole new game plus stuck in a minus world, but they don't tell anyone and people have to find it.
That'd be amusing.
See, I would be all for a new Mario where it's just Mario gets stuck in Minus World and that's the game.
I think
It's
they
kind of
already
like
didn't they
That's
already
what the
do
Lost
that?
Levels is.
Oh, is it?
I think the first
okay.
one did that.
I have a hard
actually.
genie to put back in a bottle after the internet age, so
Yeah.
like
Yeah, it kind of is, but I mean, like I remember like this being like the thing.
oh
Like,
for
I had a
sure
video-
at the time.
like I had a video cassette of pro gamers teach you all of the cool tips and tricks, and this was like the first one that they taught you, even though I never managed to actually pull it off.
What was his name?
Well, no.
Please.
It was like a videotape because, like, apparently there was like, and I don't know if this was actually a real thing or if this was just a marketing ploy. I assume a marketing ploy now that I look back on it. But it was like the America World Cup video game team. Like, they never actually said Olympics, but it was implied that there was like a video game Olympics that they were like the team for officially.
So it wasn't Skip Rogers, World
Dang it.
Video
No.
Game Champion.
Nope, and it was not Video Armageddon either from the Wizard, which annoyed me. Which the weird thing about that video also, which I'll just very quickly throw out here and then go back to the discussion, is that the two guys who were on there, and I've never been able to find it, and I can't figure out where the videotape disappeared to. In the beginning and the end of the video, they seemed almost annoyed that you were bothering them while they were playing video games. It was a very, like, made you very much feel like a younger brother spying on your older, cooler brother doing something. It's like, okay, dork, this is how you do this. This is how you do this. And at the end of the video, they just kind of look at you in disgust, take their controllers, and walk out of the room. And that's the end of the tips video.
That's an interesting approach.
I know, right? Like, I always felt like it was off, like, when I was, like, a kid, and, like, now as an adult, I think it's even more off.
Yeah, this sounds weird. I don't. What games were you playing? I'm concerned about the
It
games
wasn't-
you're hanging out with.
It wasn't a game that I was playing. It was
How did you
a
get your
Christmas-
hands on this cassette? That's what I'm curious about.
It was a Christmas gift either from my mom or my grandmother and grandfather. It was one of those,
This
like,
was
oh, this
sold
is...
in stores somewhere.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
probably
this-
sold in like a regional grocery store or something. 'Cause
Is that where
that's
Skip
how these
Rogers
things-
was?
That's
Yeah.
how these things
No,
went.
it was on a. I bet it was like on a card table in front of the grocery store.
But it was the classic, oh, this has something to do with video games. I'll bet he likes this kind of
Yep.
gift. You know, and like, if I ever find it, if I can ever find the videotapes, they're probably gone at this point, considering the amount of floods and natural disasters that have happened here. But if I can ever, like, figure out where it is, I will absolutely, like, pass that along, like, somewhere, like on the server or something like that.
Excellent.
So, getting back to the topic, the Mario one, it wasn't just Mario that kind of had that issue, because Metroid also had kind of a
Did it?
minus world. Well, it was where instead of walking through the door, well, I did pull up the video. It seems like, I don't know, unless someone wanted to talk about
Where's the
this,
video?
Fallout. Right here.
I'm just gonna be going back to that Fallout one every time we sort of run out of video.
Okay, I wasn't sure. All right.
Never played 76, so can't comment.
So in Metroid, there is, I mean, I'd probably have to skip ahead, but you'd normally walk through a door, and it updates, like, the map value and your location value. For some reason, they're two separate values in the game, and there's a way that people can,
The reason for that is there's some rooms that are reused, and so the map
Okay.
and the location would not be the same thing.
Oh, that's why. Okay. Is that why there's so many of those darn confusing areas in this game?
Yeah, well, it's because in order to make the map bigger, they had to cheat somehow, because they did not have a lot of space.
So, what they do, instead of just normally walking through, it's you get in the door, but you don't actually walk all the way through it, and then you, instead of walking through it, you, like, hit up, down, up, down, up, down, something like that, and you end up, I think he's going to attempt it right now, but you end up shifting a room, and it updates one of the values, but not the other value. So your location and your room number get desynced, and it ends up creating just weird situations, and kind of, it practically almost randomizes the levels, just because I mean, it breaks the game, and so areas just start getting really wonky and weird, not unlike area -0, -1
Minus
in
world.
Mario. Minus world, yeah. Okay, I didn't actually know why there were two separate values. So that
Yeah,
that
I did.
actually makes a
I
lot of
didn't know
sense.
this, but as soon as you said it, it was just one of those. Oh, that's why. Because I definitely did not know that before.
So then, how do you know you're right that that's the reason?
Because it's what makes sense.
Yeah, so he gets stuck in the door,
As you do.
and then he just hits up and down.
You can tell from the way
So he
that it
starts
is.
clipping through areas. Okay, what's he gonna do now? 'Cause it looked like he was successful.
It's
But...
off the map.
I don't know. Oh, that's what? Oh dear. This is a little worse than a
Unspeakable things have
randomizer.
happened.
Well, if I skip ahead to try and see it, yeah.
Anyway. No, this is definitely things that happen. And yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff is because the older games just didn't. They weren't preparing for things like this because, why would they?
Well, since we're on the topic of old games and this type of thing, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the mother of all and the granddaddy of all video game glitches, which also, weirdly enough, also is why we have a rising skill challenge as you go along.
Ah,
guys
yes.
Did you
Yeah,
guys-
no, that's a good
I was
one.
I was
yeah.
wondering why you had this on the list.
Did you guys
Space
know
Invaders, yes.
that Space Invaders was not meant to go faster as you killed them?
Not
What was
originally.
Yes, it's because it was tied to their
Yeah.
clock speed.
Exactly. And as you killed things, the frame it adjusted the frame rate to go faster. It was a complete like glitch that wasn't supposed to happen, but it added an element of having to get better in rising skill in the game. And like this is 100% a glitch. This was not as intended. It was always supposed to go like the same speed throughout the entire level, and then they get faster as the levels progress on, not when they're on the screen. So this again was the granddaddy of all video game glitches because
Yeah,
this is how
so
it started.
in this case, instead of having since this is one of the earlier games, games now, they have a set frame rate that they're trying to achieve. And
Right.
whether or not they finish everything, the same amount of stuff has to happen. So they'll just, skip frames or, the game gets kind of laggy, right? But if it's going super fast, they still make sure things don't happen faster. But this one, it's just they update the next frame as soon as they finish calculating it. And they didn't really think about the fact that after a while, it doesn't take as long to calculate stuff. And I think that's hilarious because it's kind of just an oversight in the programming. It wasn't like any exact mistake exactly, just kind of they didn't think about
It
it.
just happened that way.
And
Yeah,
it's
it just
kind of
it starts
funny.
off lagging. Yeah.
But at the same time, they once they started playing it, they're like, "Oh, I didn't think about that, but now that I see it happen, I actually think that's more entertaining to leave it that way." So they did.
Obviously,
And-
they've had to change it for later ports because
Oh yeah.
clock
Oh,
speeds
yeah.
now would be.
You die right away.
Oh,
Exactly.
now I
Just
mean
like
now
get
they
obliterated.
could calculate. I mean, it could be at the final speed the whole time
Yeah,
if they
it'd be
want to.
it'd be the Half-Life patch
Yes, the Half-Life
1.0 crowbar, which for some reason was tied to your clock speed.
But also in this same vein, the other one, another one which I put on here, which I will now play, is that there's a whole culture of video game champions, quote unquote, which all comes down to glitches that happen when you just get too far in the game and the game doesn't know how to continue on. The Donkey Kong kill screen,
The kill screen,
the
yep.
kill screens, basically, for all of the old games.
Yeah, as they overflow. Yeah.
Exactly what Lunarstar was talking about earlier is that, and that's the pinnacle. That's how you quote unquote beat the arcade games back in the day.
I mean,
And
there's no better argument that you've beaten a game than to make it so that the game can't fight you anymore.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I would argue if you would just want to make it to where the game doesn't, can't fight you anymore, you just knock it over and
On
just
its
stand on it.
terms. I should have specified
Always do
on
things
its
your own
terms.
terms. But regardless of the fact, like, I mean, here we're seeing Donkey Kong right now. Like, is there any game kill screen that is the point of more documentation and litigation, as it turns out right now, than this screen right here?
Pac-Man.
You think Pac-Man had
Pac-Man's
more
skill screen.
litigation?
Pac-Man's skills, or I don't know about litigation.
Because there's that whole Billy Mitchell thing where he's suing
Yeah.
everyone because he says, "Oh no, I'm actually a world champion, and you can't prove that this isn't it." And they're like, "Yes, we can, because here's the proof." Well,
Carl
you
Jobst
slandered
has
me,
been
so I'm
doing a lot of work on that.
Yeah, but regardless, that's more what I'm talking about when I say litigation. Is like, and the king
Literally,
of Cogs and all that
literally
stuff.
litigation.
Yeah, no, there is literal litigation in that case. Yeah,
No, the
but that's a rabbit hole to get into. My goodness.
Yeah, that could be its own episode in and of itself.
Of course, this. I mean, okay, the kill screen for Fix It Felix. That one was made intentionally, though.
Yeah, that I don't know. That felt that doesn't feel like it's in the spirit. I was just looking for like a summarization of kill screens, not
I'd
necessarily.
argue it's very much
Yeah.
it's in the spirit. I mean, it's purposely put in.
Oh no, it's definitely in the spirit. I'm just saying, like the other ones were just,
yeah,
The other
acting
one-
it
natural.
overflowed. I mean, like they intentionally programmed it in, which is
Well, that was a
not the
big
case
deal
the
with
others.
the first kid to beat Tetris recently. The 13-year-old, I think he was.
Oh yeah, and by the way, if that newscaster who was so mocking towards him is listening, which they're not, like, I hope your career ended with all of that, with all the backlash you got for that, picking on a 13-year-old that did something that none of the rest of us could do in all of this time. Shame on you, lady.
It was awesome though, because
yeah, I'm sure it was.
Wouldn't
that
be
was
surprised.
if you don't know, the cool thing about it is the fact that they started developing techniques and playing with the game up, like the controller upside down and all this other stuff to make it so you could do things you're not supposed to be able to do with Tetris. And as you start getting past, I think it's was it just past level 10, where because it wasn't programmed for it, it starts doing colors that were never intended for the Tetris blocks. And so
It's
some
something like that.
some of the levels become very difficult, not because they're any harder than the previous one, but because it's like, all right, now it's all all black pieces. Have fun playing in night mode. It's really awesome. I think Summoning Salt did a video on it. Should check it out.
Probably.
Anyway, another interesting one, because you're talking about how it's not intended. It's
I mean,
it's
that feels like that feels like it's the
Heck.
biggest part of a glitch. Like, because if you program the glitch in, is it a
Yeah.
glitch?
yeah.
Oh,
No.
man, the Pac-Man 256 screen. I used to have a T-shirt with that screen. It died, but I love that T-shirt.
The screen or the shirt.
Yes.
The shirt, yes.
But related. Here's one that was interesting because it led to things. In World of Warcraft, the Blood Plague.
Oh gosh.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, I've seen like legit news articles about that wasn't even like IGN, but like CNN practically.
Well, it's
stuff,
because
you
it was
know?
very. For those who don't know what this is, there was a boss called Hakar the Soul Flayer, and Hakar would put a debuff on a player called the Blood Plague, and they would just take a lot of damage, and so it needs to be dispelled by a healer. And if they don't dispel it quick enough, it'll start spreading to the other teammates. And so the point is, the person who has it needs to move away from the teammates so that it can be safely dispelled. Now, they were smart and they programmed it so that when you left the dungeon, the plague wouldn't come with you, unlike a lot of other buffs and debuffs. What they forgot to do is make it so that it would also leave the pets. Because what would happen is people would have a pet, they would unsummon it because it was about to die, and then leave the dungeon. And when they pulled it back out, it still had the blood plague, which meant this thing that kills so quickly is suddenly out in the open. And it starts spreading like an actual plague. And so it was interesting because, where do people usually hang out? In the main cities? Well, that meant suddenly all the major locations in the game are death traps.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, there were like several grad students that like wrote papers about communicable diseases using this very blood plague glitch.
Well, it's because
the
it's
basis of their thesis.
Yeah, because it actually does in a very rudimentary way, but still it does simulate how like a virus would spread. And it was just interesting that it's this thing. They got it patched, I think, within like 2 days or something. It was pretty quick turnaround, especially for that era of the game. But it's something that has forever like been in the psyche. And it's one of those things, it's like you think you cover everything as a programmer, but you forget this edge case of what if someone unsummons their pet that had it? Are we checking for that pet? It's just a programmer's nightmare.
Yeah, it's kind of an impressive phenomenon.
But yeah. Anyway. Let's see.
I've got an interesting one.
Bring it up.
Okay, so in The Legend of Zelda, or A Link to
I've
the
heard
Past,
of it.
You may have heard of it. It's this obscure little indie studio that made it several years back, but
yeah, it was called R&D 1, right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
he's dying. The blood plague got him.
Yeah, A Link to the Past came out on the Super Nintendo, and there's a glitch that is now often used in speedruns and in randomizer events for A Link to the Past. It's called the hover boots. Basically, and it only really shows this at the very end of this video. He tries it a few times, but basically what you can do, I don't know exactly how to accomplish it, but a certain combination of button presses.
You
with
spam the Pegasus boots.
With the Pegasus boots, if you do it right, you can actually hover across gaps. And so this is a speedrunner's dream, This is just like, oh, I can get all the places I wasn't able to get before. And particularly when you're playing like a randomizer that has its own set logic and you're trying to break that logic, you can get into certain areas that you never would be able to before. And so it's a fascinating little glitch. And it's just one of those things. It kind of makes sense the way it got in, because with the Pegasus boots, it affects your position. It affects it's just, it puts you into this weird lock state. And so it's just a way to get through places that you shouldn't be able to get through.
In the Super Nintendo era, one of my favorite games was Final Fantasy IV, and it had a few glitches that I absolutely loved.
Are we not even going to comment on that one?
Well, what the? I mean, it's a good one. It's used in speed runs. I never could do it. It's not that easy to pull off and crossing gaps. I mean, what more is there to say?
Actually, that does bring up an interesting question before we move on to Final Fantasy IV. Is that glitches are basically the entire foundation of the speedrunning community. Like, all of it is. Like, there's no way you get that community exists without some of these things.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things where it never starts off that way. Everyone starts off playing the game the way the creators intended, but as the run gets more and more competitive, you start looking for every little edge you can get, which means suddenly you're having to go for strategies that aren't as consistent, but have greater reward. Like
Yeah.
that Pegasus boot one, like you're talking about, like there's a rhythm you have to go with it, right?
Exactly. And it's the kind of thing, like, it takes a little bit of practice, but like after a while you can eventually master it and, get through and like, but it's one of those glitches, especially with speed runs or with randomizers with the races and stuff that they'll have with that. Not everybody is able to do it, and so some will have rules where you're allowed to use it, and others you're not allowed to use it. And like when you're allowed to use it, if you don't know how to make it happen, you
Game
could
over, man.
be at a serious disadvantage.
So what's this glitch?
Wave dashing.
So in Final Fantasy IV, let me restart that. In Final Fantasy IV, there was a glitch where you can. They added the ability to change your equipment mid-battle, and the glitch was if you unequipped your equipment mid-battle, finished the battle, and then went back and then re-equipped it, it would end up decrementing, and you could underflow it to get 255 of an item. And
Which some might
you-
consider unfair.
yeah, so you could get infinite of certain weapons, which was very nice because some weapons there was only like one case that you could get, like it's a unique weapon, and there was an ability called throw that you could throw a weapon to do more damage than you normally could, but it would consume the weapon. But you could duplicate to get an infinite number of these weapons. So you could just spam throw, like, throwing the Excalibur. Like, I have 255 Excaliburs, and now I can just throw it as many times as I want. And, people would also use it to get a lot of money. I mean, this wasn't the only glitch in Final Fantasy IV, but the other one was it had a unique system. Like, there's the spell Exit that's in a lot of games, but they had a unique spell called Warp in Final Fantasy IV that was kind of supposed to be like Exit, but instead of going all the way out of the dungeon, it just takes you back one floor. And so it would keep this stack of, like, okay, he went through this door and this door and this door, so it could, trace back your steps that you could cast it and, warp back one room and then cast it again, warp back another room. But they didn't fully cover every case, and so if you went like back and forth in a dungeon, like up and down stairs, like 64 times, it would actually break the game because it would run out of room.
I didn't know about this one.
And it actually wound up. I'm trying to think if it was in the manual or in one Nintendo Power they mentioned it, but they mentioned it as canon, saying like, "Oh, by the way, don't do this because if you do, the final boss will curse you and crash your game." So it was kind of fun. I was hoping I could find an image of where it says that in Nintendo Power, but I couldn't find it. It's been years since I've seen it, but it was a fun glitch. Well, actually, that was one I never did, but the at least the item duplication was certainly a fun glitch.
Oh, I abused the item duplication to get unlimited Excaliburs.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
and then
why
chuck
wouldn't you?
them. Oh yeah.
That's what
Just so
Edge
you
is
can chuck-
for.
Yep.
But
To
I mean, like,
deliver one spoon and 1,000,000 Excaliburs.
Yep.
Yep.
100%.
but that feels like a good transition point, which I'll let Patricia make this transition to another famous Final Fantasy glitch.
Well, I mean, I can't speak authoritatively on it because I only ever played Final Fantasy VI on an emulator, and so I always chalked up the weirdness that I experienced to that. But
I can confirm it was not that.
I then it was working as intended. But I don't even know how I ended up getting all these copies of my Ragnaroks and Excaliburs. You'll have to explain how it works because I never actually figured it
So-
out.
There's been a few things, and like it's never the same. Like I ended up with 99 economizers in my run.
Oh,
Which-
yeah, that's nice too.
That
yeah,
is
can you
definitely
imagine?
nice.
Can you imagine going to handle Kefka and everyone has economizers, and I've taught everyone Ultima.
I mean, technically, you only need like what 14.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. But I mean,
Dude.
like,
I lent my game out to someone, and they did this glitch on their save file, and it kind of bugged me that they did that on my cartridge.
but I mean, and look, it happened accidentally. I didn't know what this was. It was just
That's
the
the
game
worst type of
overheated.
glitch, the ones that you invoke on accident.
Well, like it was like freaky because I'm like sitting there and I'm playing, and I had been playing like I had done this thing where, you know, I wasn't at a save point, so I just went to the menu stream, went to sleep, woke up the next morning, did my chores, went back up, kept playing, went and did lunch, went back up to my room, played some more, and then like the screen went all weird, and I'd gotten to a save point since then, and I was just like, uh-oh. And then I turned it off, and I felt the cartridge, and the cartridge was unnaturally hot. And I'm like, okay, let's test out and let's see if I've fried my console. And I got like a different game, and I put it in there, and I played it for a little bit, and everything was fine. All right, cool. Let the cartridge cool down, plugged it back in, went back to my last save, and I've just got a ton more inventory. And like I didn't even realize it at first until I was like, okay, well, I gotta switch out the economizer from Terra to Celis. I've got 99 of them. Why do I have 99 economizers?
Love the economy.
Okay. And like there were other ones that I had more of, but it was like one of those things where it's just like I wasn't sure what I had done. Now, allegedly, it's like some kind of like glitch where like it could happen via heat related. The video that was pulled in here was, max strength had something to do with it as well. I never understood exactly what it was, and the only thing I could ever attribute it to was I left the game for over 24 hours playing.
Okay. I could see where that might lead to some issues.
I
And
thought it
actually,
was
this is
just-
Final Fantasy. This is Final Fantasy VII. I don't know what happened to the Final Fantasy VI one.
Yeah, but from my end, I thought it was because I was save state scumming and somehow I
Nope.
just flipped some bits somewhere.
Got to
Nope,
watch out
it
for those
was-
bits
it was
flipping.
100 It was 100%, as intended. It happened to me. Like Lunarsar said his friend did it on his, which feels really, wrong. Like you don't like it's one thing. Like I did it to my own cartridge. It's another thing to do it to somebody else's cartridge. That
Okay, so
feels-
I missed. How do you make this happen?
as near as I can tell, you leave your cartridge in on a Nintendo that's on for over 24 hours. It overheats, it freaks out, and scrambles some of the information.
Is that actually how it works, or is that just sort of what you've? I'm not. I'm
That's
just.
the only thing that I can attribute to, because when I was a kid, like the internet was dial-up, and like there was no there was no YouTube, there was no like place to go to do that kind of a thing, exactly, or at least none that I knew of. So when I did it, it was completely by accident, and it was I have no way of knowing if I actually did something very specific in it. The only thing that I could attribute to is that I had the game on for over 24 hours, and I've always assumed that I overheated it.
See, in my case, I was almost positive it had to do with my my cheap way of uncursing the curse shield, which is
Freaking cursed shield.
like I weighted down the action key and just like wandered around and like mindlessly scrolling the internet while I went through hundreds of battles against very low level enemies. And then the shield is uncursed, like great. And then I was like, how do I also end up with all these Excaliburs and Ragnaroks? Like, okay, maybe this is part of how it's supposed to work.
See, I did something similar, except that I just ground out the battles, only to learn, and it never uncursed. It just, for whatever reason, I'm just thinking maybe I am thinking that I'm doing a lot more fighting than I thought. About 20 years later, I finally learn, no, if you equip the curse shield to Go-Go, it doesn't uncurse.
Oh
But
man.
no,
Oh, that's brutal.
Oh, I'm
So,
sorry, bro.
yeah. The curse shield
Is
is a
there a reason
truly
for that?
cursed. So
Because
Go-Go is
Go-Go
an
is
optional
like
character.
every character, technically.
Yeah,
He's every character and
Go-Go
no
is
character.
Go-Go is an optional character who's a mime, and he can do like every single character's abilities, but he's a lot more customizable than any of the others.
Oh yeah.
And so there's
Well,
all sorts of weirdness around him.
He's the only character that you don't actually have to have a fight command on. You can replace literally everything on his menu.
Well, he starts off without one.
Right.
He only has mimic when you before you actually go in and customize him.
They said to themselves, could we do this? Not if they should.
Pretty
Technically,
much.
Gao doesn't have a fight command either.
No, he doesn't, but I mean,
or the Yeti.
yeah, but
Well,
the
Umaru
Yeti you can't control.
Umaru
Well,
doesn't have any commands.
I mean that was my point.
Fair point. It's a fair point. It's a fair point.
But I mean, like, as it is with all of these all of these glitches that we've talked about, at least so far, like, this is all in the early days of gaming, and like the best internet you've got for everything that we've talked about is like dial-up, maybe if you're lucky, and like everything was gaming magazines, everything was the schoolyard, everything was pretty much, word of mouth, like, to get around. And it's actually amazing how much of this stuff actually did get around.
Yeah, because like the
'Cause-
Pokemon example, it was just my buddies telling me.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's an interesting phenomenon. It's the Marilyn Manson phenomena, and I won't get too much more into it because of the PG show. But if you know what I'm talking about, back in the day, the rumor about Marilyn Manson, who
oh gosh.
without the aid of the internet,
No.
managed to go-
Don't unlock that memory. Lock that back up. Oh gosh.
Wasn't that bad?
Yeah.
there's a reason I'm not mentioning it on screen, bud.
Okay, apparently you're talking about the thing that I was always told was that the drummer in Marilyn Manson's band was the dorky kid from Wonder Years.
No, that was Marilyn
No.
Manson.
No,
That's
this
supposed
is
to be the dorky kid from Wonder
No.
Years. That's
No.
absolutely not what I'm
I
talking
love
about.
how
I know
innocent you
exactly
are.
what he's talking about, and it is not safe.
Yeah,
for work,
you
man.
apparently got different Marilyn Manson rumors than I did.
No, I mean I knew that one, and it was Marilyn Manson, not the drummer. Because they both have the same name.
No, they said the drummer
Like,
in
like
my
the
school.
poor kid that was on the Wonder Years had to actually do a press conference. Like, no, I'm not Marilyn Manson. Please stop asking. Please stop showing up at my house, you weird people.
But man, Final Fantasy VI, they did so much with it that what was the other one? There was a glitch around Realm's paint ability.
There was something weird would happen with her paint. I can't remember.
But I'm trying to think, could that one even brick your game, or just brick your save file, or?
I feel
Bricks
like
were
the rumor
involved.
was it could brick your save file. Because now that you've mentioned that, I seem to remember avoiding Realm at all costs in my party.
Yeah,
I mean,
'cause
I wasn't too worried
something-
because I had my save states, but yeah.
I mean, but
There
like,
was
you're
something
working
in
on
there
an
that
emulator.
was-
I didn't have
yeah.
that kind of. I didn't have that kind. That kind of stability.
Hell, save states are a double-edged sword.
As long as you don't pick the wrong one.
I have stopped playthroughs of certain games and never returned because I overwrote the wrong save state, and that was it.
Oh dear.
All right.
Oh, yeah. That happened to me
rough,
with
buddy.
the Seiken Densetsu 3 Trials of Mana. Yeah, not good stuff. Bad.
So,
I don't really have a video for this,
That's fine.
But-
This lasts a little while.
but I mean, I wanted to throw this out here when I saw this on our little plan area. And I think like maybe one of the other ones that was put on here may be related, but what do we think about glitches so bad that they have to do a day one patch? Like, because one of the big things that we as modern gamers have to deal with are
The existence of a day one patch is one thing.
yeah. Well, the existence of day one patch, but like we live in a time where AAA games tend to not be those games tend to not be in the best state on day one. You know,
Or
And-
day
and, like,
30.
Which game is literally unplayable from release?
Yeah, like what, like, do we count things like these games where you have to have some kind of online validation?
I would say SimCity 2013 back in.
Yeah, that was the one I heard a lot about. I mean, like,
I
and
mean,
even
that was just server availability more than the like a programming thing, but still.
Exactly, but I mean, like, it feels like that we more often than not we're hearing stories about the state of games at the beginning and how bad they are. I mean, one of the best ones to talk about is like No Man's Sky, which I wouldn't say so much that that's a glitch as much as they
I mean,
way
that
overpromised as to
worked.
what they were
Yeah,
gonna.
yeah.
Cyberpunk was very glitchy at the beginning, so much so that it you could argue that it is tarnished
Cyberpunk
up
was
CD
famously
Projekt
bad.
Red's. Like, I didn't come across most of the issues, but then again, I wasn't trying to like play on maximum settings, like on like a computer that could hack the Pentagon and stuff like that. But like, you know, if you bought it on PlayStation 4, like it was unplayable.
One,
They-
if you
they literally had to give people their money back because the game was in such a bad state, and there was no way they were going to get it.
which tends to be viewed poorly.
And Batman Arkham Knight.
That one, I
The
don't know.
PC
I was
PC
able to
port
I was
was
able to play it.
unplayable.
No, I was playing
But-
it.
Yeah.
What was the issue with that?
Jordan
I've
played
never
it
heard.
fine.
Yeah,
I mean, you might have played it. You might have played it fine, but like, again, this was another one where EA had to issue like mass like refunds because most people could. The game was in such a glitchy, unplayable state that like and Warner Brothers Games just literally threw up their hands and like we cannot give you like a decent idea as to when we are going to get it fixed. And eventually they got it fixed, but it was just like poor porting from the consoles. And
I
you
wonder
know.
what the difference was with when Splice played
Ports
it. Like,
ports can be a whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I was able to play it fine. It did lag when you would start moving around in the bat cycle, especially if it was raining. But it never to the
Well, there
point
was
where I
lag, there
couldn't
was
play.
Raining,
That-
there was corrupted save states, which were happening more often than not. So if you got away without having to deal with that, you got lucky. Especially if you got it at launch.
Bat Cycle?
No, not bats. The
Yeah, the Bat-
Batmobile.
Oh, the Batmobile. Okay,
Yeah,
I was
Batmobile.
like, I don't remember the bat. Did I miss something in that game? Because I thought I 100%ed it.
Yeah, it's one of the few games I've 100%ed too. So, but yeah, and I see we have like another one, Ubisoft, who is so great about their first
okay.
games.
All right, I have an Ubisoft glitch story, I suppose.
All right.
So I didn't own the first Assassin's Creed. I actually borrowed a copy from a roommate, but I really liked the idea. You know, the world and all that kind of stuff was fun. But I got to like one of the late stages, and somehow, like, my character duplicated himself. Like there was a clone, and they would mimic all of my actions. I would walk forward, the clone would
Whoa.
walk forward.
Wait, which
would-
one was this?
The original Assassin's Creed, the first one.
Wow.
I was
okay.
playing it on the Xbox
Okay.
360, and I tried to look before this to see if there's a bit like I couldn't even find a video, but it sure as heck happened for me.
Wow.
And I can't be the only one to have experienced this. But anyway, like
You're definitely not, because I have an hour-long video of nothing but Assassin's Creed glitches.
Well, I mean, it's an Ubi game. They're There are glitches till the kingdom ends, you know.
The
but
the one glitch I loved was what's the most recent one? Not the one that's coming out, but the one before that.
there's Valhalla. There's
Yes,
I think
Odyssey,
it was
Valhalla
it was
is-
Valhalla, and my sister just sent me an image like,
Well,
Take it-
Well, look at that launch! Holy cow!
yeah, but
the
where
Ubi
Trampoline
games.
windmills, man.
you know how you
I've had
kill
that happen.
you know how you kill a guy and you try and hide them by putting them in the haystack and stuff, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Yes, and you can fit a countless amount of them.
yes,
in a
just
haystack.
well, so the glitch was someone went to throw him in a haystack, but for some reason it like tried to snap to a different haystack, like clear across the map, and they just yeet this body across the map, just shot put him.
That's hilarious.
The guard looks up and he's like, "Well, this is going to be a bad day."
I didn't see nothing. You do whatever you want, man.
Oh, I didn't finish my story. So I mean,
Sorry.
like,
Oh, no,
so
no, go ahead.
yeah, it was wild enough that like this other Altair would mimic my motions and such. But like, like, okay, well, maybe I'll just try and keep carrying on. And so I'm in this area where you have to hop on these little poles in the water. And then the first game, if you fell in the water, you died.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he wasn't directly behind me. He was to my side, and so I hop onto a pole, and he hops into the water, and that kills me. I'm like, what? And I'm like, okay, so like I reload, and I'm like, well, maybe it'll go away. It doesn't go away. He's like, my clone reappears. I'm like, oh, great. And then I just got really curious. I'm like, can I assassinate myself? You could. I literally was able to stab my clone and kill myself.
Did you?
Okay,
Did
what
that give
doesn't
you a game over?
Myself by doing the assassination with the hidden blade.
And did you get a game over from that?
What?
Did that cause a game over? Did that kill you?
Yeah, it did.
Oh man.
And so like the only way I was able to proceed is I just had to like push the clone such that he would be in line with me so that I could make him follow me along the path I wanted.
you
carefully with
literally
him
had a
following
shadow clone?
I had to do an escort quest with my clone in order to pass this area.
Life is a lot more annoying when you consider it an escort quest of yourself.
I mean, like I've heard of like like glitches like that, but like this was like I mean, like you could die.
I forgot about the ship that
clone.
rises from the.
This is a pretty good one, actually. I have experienced this once. By the way, Black Flag was probably my most favorite Assassin's Creed. Of all of them.
Absolutely, 100%.
I have Black Flag. I have a good number of them because I've just gotten them from free for
Yeah, they sell
from
them
various
for,
Amazon games. Is always trying to give me an.
they sell them
Assassin's Creed
cheap as
game
free often, but yes,
Yeah, no, Black Flag is awesome.
Black Flag is incredible.
But that also, for some reason, that kind of reminded me. While we're on the topic of games that were just awful from the get-go, that also reminds me of WWE 2K20,
Oh yeah.
which was just so bad.
I like I almost wasn't even sure if this was just like a joke, like they did, like this is like a fake game, but like it was real.
No, it was a real game. Like it was their 2020.
It was their entry into their video game series, and it was just awful.
On everything. Like it was glitched bad. I don't know if they handed out or if they ever got it fixed or anything like that, but it was real bad. Like if you've ever seen the meme of like the referee in the ring whose hand like wraps around his body, the arm bends the wrong way and gives a thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Yes, I've seen.
That's from this game. And this is this is a game that's like 2K20. Like this is like only a 4-year-old game. It's unplayable right now, but it was god awful. I didn't play it because at that point I had just gotten, oh my god, Jesus. Yeah, like this is just like average gameplay here. But again, this was the way it was right out of the box.
Well, and that's the problem, is just that they're just clearly not taking any pride in the work. It's just get it out.
I think they ended up changing video game studios after this. It was so bad.
I mean, how could
They
you
were just
not?
pressured to release because of COVID, and they were like, "Oh, well, surely we'll get this out."
That's right. That was the other thing. It's because this was like this was like some
It was a
people's like,
like
hey,
a 2020.
it was
That was a COVID game for sure.
Yeah. Like so bad, so very bad. Like we don't have to stick with this, but like it just Pertifka reminded me of this while we're talking, and we were showing like Outlaws earlier. Like I'm assuming that it was glitchy at launch as well, and that was why that was there. Or is there a specific glitch for Outlaws?
There were a lot
There
of
were
glitches.
a
from what I
ton of
understand.
I
believe
I am
I believe it's
told
been patched.
they've patched
pretty
it
heavily.
since, but it took him like 3 months to do so. So it's too late. You missed your window.
And
Yeah.
this is why I don't buy games from Ubisoft.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
did this wrestling one ever get fixed?
No,
But yeah,
Because,
that
I mean
that-
they tried to fix it, but like it's still
it,
like
it
if
was
you were to-
it was so bad. Like I don't think it was possible to fix.
Well,
They
like
just-
And the problem is that with a game like this, it falls into the category of like your Maddens and your FIFAs and your NBAs and stuff like that. So there's just going to be another one next year. So why bother at that point? Like they're going to refund the money for anyone who wants it and get them next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's-
I mean,
Now, okay, we've talked about glitches as an unintended consequence. We've got glitches that break the game. What about glitches that end up turning into a feature going forward?
I think I know where you're going with this one.
Oh, wave dashing, wave
Well,
dashing.
no,
Oh my
that's
gosh.
definitely not the feature.
Dang it.
Oh, dang it.
Well, I mean, I don't think that was a design intention.
Yeah, but
This is
that's
exactly. I saw this one on here. I was going to add this one too.
Gone-
oh yes, Andy.
Gandhi and Civ, where
Oh,
they
right.
tried to make him peaceful, but he was too peaceful. And
So peaceful that he
It was
wraps around the
negative
other
peaceful.
side.
And then suddenly he is dropping nukes and he is pissed and he is taking no prisoners. And
I remember that this infected other games too. It was so bad. Because I remember playing a game called Nuclear War where there was a trigger happy Gandhi in that one too, but this game predates it. So
Yeah.
I feel like
Well, but
somebody cribbed it.
well, 'cause it's a great reference now going forward, because they've now kept this sense in ongoing Civilization games. Gandhi tends to get aggressive on you because it was so iconic.
I mean, you'd be hangry too if you starved yourself like that.
Yeah. Not him. Like that's the impressive thing about Gandhi is that he did that and he didn't get angry. But then again, he didn't have nukes in real life. So
Yeah, so there's that too.
we don't know. Might have been he might have gone for a different play after that.
But I mean, like this is classic. This is prime bug that became the feature.
Yeah, another one that was like that was rocket jumping in the original Team Fortress 2.
Oh,
That was
I think it's
didn't realize-
older. I
or
think
sorry,
it's
sorry,
older
sorry. I
than Quake.
said I didn't mean Team Fortress 2. In Team Fortress Classic, the bunny hopping has been a part of those games a lot, but the rocket jumping was not. That was not intended originally, but it became so important to how people played that they end up making the soldier class completely centered around it. Whereas Smash did the opposite, where the pros started all doing wave dashing and then they did everything they could to make sure you couldn't.
yeah.
True.
They added the slip
Yeah.
mechanic.
But yeah, in Team Fortress 2, how it's like that is one of the core features that they implemented,
Right.
and to the point that they even had an event where All right, who's the one who's gonna get the an item to make so rocket jumping takes less damage? You know, the soldier versus demo event.
Yep.
Sadly, the soldier won. I was
Uh,
very much team demo on that one.
That's right. You always were a little bit more of a demo aficionado.
Oh yes, I loved playing demo on TF2.
Same. I could. And
So
I just couldn't get the rocket jumps to work.
oh yeah, I never was able to figure it out. TF2 was just not my game.
Same.
What about ascended glitches? Like it's sort of in the same vein, but this is the one. This one is a glitch that actually wasn't a glitch, that didn't actually exist, but it was an urban legend.
Oh gosh, I love the quick cameo of UHF there.
Oh, Ermac.
The character Ermac. So he was
Oh,
an urban
nice.
legend because somebody had gotten into the code, and there's a line which error macro was actually what Ermac was an abbreviation for, and people thought, oh, this is a secret character that you can. It was like it showed up on the debug screen.
Same thing as Messino.
Yeah, and so it's just sort of except the Missingno actually existed. Ermac never existed, but
Well, no, but
like,
because but that's Messino means missing number.
right. Oh yeah. So naming convention wise, yes.
Yeah, it's just referencing the fact that you found an unsigned variable.
Exactly. But in this one, like, this wasn't even an actual glitch. It was an urban legend that there was a secret red clothed scorpion that you could find. And the company took this and they're like, no, we're gonna make this a real thing. And so they actually built Ermac into the game later on. And so he became an official Mortal Kombat character.
Well, I'm trying to think. It was a later Mortal Kombat game,
Right,
not
right. In a later Mortal Kombat game, yes.
Ermac, I think was rumored in 3.
I thought he was rumored in 1 and he showed up in 3 or something like that.
It was something. I
Something-
don't think
something
it
like
was
that.
1.
No,
I
because
could be
one
wrong,
because
though.
one
Hold
that it was I believe it was Reptile was the one in
Right,
one.
I do remember.
Yeah, and it was bonkers what you had to do to get Reptile to show up.
It says, okay, so according to Google's AI, it says that he was introduced in Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So while we're on the topic of ascended glitches, the one that I loved that got descended unfortunately is the Minecraft minecarts.
Oh gosh, I missed those.
I was wondering when this was going to come up.
Yes, of course. This is one. This one holds a very special place because man, our
Oh,
group
your
had a
coaster.
huge server, and the person who owned the server and me went to so much trouble to set up minecarts everywhere, to set up the boost track, because this was before they had power rails. You used a glitch where you got the two carts to line up side by side, and then they'd be pushing each other indefinitely, and you could use that to get insane amounts of speed.
Ludicrous
and to really
speed.
Push you there.
Yeah,
And
they-
it was wonderful. I made entire like roller coasters with jumps. Like, you remember? Did you guys get to ride Space Mountain?
Oh,
in
yeah.
the-
that roller coaster was awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
And-
I must have missed out
Well,
on that.
And
Jeez.
then they patched it out and replaced it with powered rails, which just
Yeah.
are abjectly inferior.
Yes, they were so much slower, and yeah.
Now, I will-
inferior
I-
every way. It broke Space Mountain. It made me so sad.
Yeah, but to be fair, this glitch also tended to break people's maps. Not literally, but chunk errors just through the roof,
Oh,
because the game could not handle people moving this quickly.
Yes, but that led to our old roommate building a chunk error into the
Yeah.
map.
Yes.
Yes.
Good old
Which was awesome.
Tyler building a fake chunk error that did end up killing our Dane at one point.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
It did kill the the owner of the server.
That's
Dane
awesome.
walked into it thinking it was just a regular chunk error, and then he
just falls
died.
to his death.
He's just,
It's actually a hole.
and he's just standing there, what? Like, just so confused. Because he's like, wait, was someone crazy enough to actually, because that's a lot of work to mine out that much just junk. And then when he went back to the edge and looked again, and he saw that there were some lava flows that had glass on them, he realized what had happened, and he just started laughing.
No, it was kind of a brilliant move.
Oh, yes, I miss those Minecraft glitches, and it's sad that they're gone.
So back to another one that you reminded me of, Kami,
Mhm.
when you were talking about that one weird ref who had the arms going around. It just made me think of an old one, which I don't know that this was a glitch. It was just kind of weird. Do y'all remember Creepy Watson?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
So in the game Sherlock Holmes Nemesis, Watson is
This
just a
brings me back to
character.
2006.
Watson is just a character who follows you around, and he's there to give you helpful advice and stuff as you go along. But
In the early beta, they didn't have a walk cycle for him, I think it was, right?
Yeah.
yeah, it was.
No
And
walking.
so what would happen is you would just turn around and he's there.
And so
The
this
great thing
video,
about this video, the
yeah.
great thing about the video is it's got horrifying music. In
The
background
music
as well.
really makes this video.
But it's just you're walking along, and then suddenly there he is.
As soon as you break line of sight to him, it's like boom.
It's like, okay.
And I've actually played this game, and I if I remember, it's been a while, but if I remember right, it actually made it into the actual game, not just the demo.
Probably because everyone liked it too much.
Yeah, I don't
So,
know.
did he actually have a walking animation in the full game, though?
I don't remember walking animation. Again, it's been long enough. I may be mixing up memes and reality at this point.
What?
Fair
that
enough,
that
fair
never
enough.
happens. We're normally so good about remembering things.
But I have played and beaten this game.
No, I love crap like this. Just the unintended consequences.
Ah,
So another unintended consequence that you have to deal with in modern games is other
Mhm.
people. Oh, it won't let me
no.
play.
I didn't like that one.
Dang it.
happened?
people are the greatest glitch of all.
This is dang it. This is one of my favorites. It's Team Roomba
This is
Presents.
Floormaster?
Yes, this is Floor Master.
Oh my
God rest his
gosh.
soul.
This is what?
So, okay, I'll just
Maybe
go to a
save
different
it for
video.
I don't know. Maybe find a way to make it work for the next weeks. And
Yeah, I'll have to try and find it. But the whole idea was, it was just these guys. Here's one that has sort of the same flow. Helldivers is janky on purpose, and it just leads to hilarity, and I love it. No, and so this guy named Floormaster, he'd make TF2 griefing videos, and there was one where they'd found this weird glitch with scouts with their double jump that when you're in the spawn area, they have the gate that comes up as you run out. And they found a way to stick their head, like get it to get stuck in a halfway state so no one could get out. And so Floormaster used this to trap people in the spawn, but that'd be a low level video. No, he then started hosting a trivia game show for people to get out, where you'd have to answer a trivia question.
I remember this now. Yes.
Yes, this is a classic. It's absolutely classic.
Pretty sure
video.
you're the one who sent it to me, but
Oh.
yes, I remember this.
It was glorious, and that was Floormaster's whole shtick.
He would play a heavy who would only punch.
Yes.
And, like, he would get an Uber charge from the medic, and he would charge at the sentries punching, and the best line is another player of the team who's like, Floormaster, use guns.
It's just his entire thing is just they're just screwing around and they're having a great time. And some others are having a great time, others are not. And it just depends upon how down with the insanity you are.
I mean, I love the videos. Unfortunately, I did have the experience of someone using the stupid scout exploit to lock us in the spawn, but he didn't have the trivia. He was just
Yeah, see,
doing
that's
it.
the problem.
And
This is why
not fun at all.
Floormaster was great, was because he's over here taking it to the next level, not doing just the thing. The best part though was usually when a Floormaster video would come out, Valve would typically patch it within a couple days.
That's right.
Because yeah, everyone would start doing it. Well, 'cause he then like found a way to build underneath certain maps, and so you just have turrets that you can't
Oh, that's
assault.
right. Yeah. The unreachable turrets.
And then
He did in engineering.
yeah, and then the other one I remember was there was this weird chain link fence that for some reason engineers could still build their stuff on the other side of it. And it's like the area he was allowed to place it in is like the size of a locker. And so he put the exit of his teleport behind this chain link fence, this unassailable chain link fence. And he's like, all right, guys, teleporter's up. And then like his entire team, after they die, takes the teleport and they all get stuck behind this chain link fence. They're just like, what? Why did you do this? And they don't get that it's a, he's just trolling them.
Well, that's the interesting thing about trolling is I kind of feel like you need to go out of your way to make it clear that this is meant to be funny. You know what I mean? Kind of like the trivia, or I mean, I guess some griefing's pretty obvious, but
yeah,
it reminds me of the time that me and Lizzie were trolling because I was playing a spy on the other team, and she was playing medic on the other team. And she'd purposely Uber me and have me backstab someone so she'd get a assist from the other team. And at first, the first time it happened, there was someone like, I was like, "Oh, you stupid medic!" And then they're like, "Wait, you're named Colorblind." Oh my gosh! Well played, well played. It's kind of the whole. You got to do something to make it obvious that you're joking around, and that changes everything.
Makes it fun.
Oh, the sprays would also be involved too.
Yeah.
Oh goodness, like the videos of the
FYI, I'm a spy.
FYI, I'm a spy,
the
and
classic
people
one.
they come up and look at the picture,
Yeah.
and then they get stabbed.
This isn't for the conversation. This is just for the fun because Mass Effect Andromeda was a buggy mess.
Oh.
I never encountered the bugs when I played.
Really?
Yeah, that was another day one. But
I never got around to playing this game
Yeah, I
because
still haven't
everyone
played it yet.
denigrated it so badly.
I mean, look,
I don't know. I never. Yeah, that was one I decided not to get.
I mean,
See,
look,
I think I got it on a major sale, but yeah.
I bought it at launch, and I got a loot crate and a loot crate plus, so I actually have like the hoodie in the game in my size hanging in my closet. But like the problem was yeah, like it was glitchy at first. I didn't get the glitches, but I don't know if I was just doing something different than everything else, than everyone else. Also, I had to work for the first 2 days, so I didn't really get a chance to play it like in full until like that weekend. But like if this had been called anything other than Mass Effect, it would have been fine. It would have been great, but it wouldn't. But it would have been fine.
But that's the problem.
But that's
But
the
that's the
problem.
problem.
It
So
was
it's so
called Mass
often
Effect.
that's the
It was
problem.
Mass Effect, and sadly, this is starting to look like this is going to be the swan song for this series because BioWare's not in great shape.
Well, that night, I mean, Andromeda had lots of things going against it. I mean, the fact that the Shepard arc completely wrapped it up to where
Oh,
the
and
story
also
had
kind
been
of
told so
unsatisfyingly, unfortunately.
Yeah.
No one liked that ending.
So they
At
had a
all.
problem that if they wanted to continue the series, they had to really show a good reason why after completing the earlier arc, and they failed to do that.
Yeah, it's like you
you're
really will
right.
need a home run for this, and they
Very
bunted.
very similar to Marvel's issues after the Infinity War saga.
Yeah, yeah. 'Cause
See,
yeah,
I
if you-
I feel like it's not so much they needed a home run and they bunted. They needed a home run and they tried a free throw.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's
Wonderful.
It was not
Oh, so-
even an attempt.
And they punted.
well. It's just
Did
one
you
of
say
those.
punt? I heard bunt because
No,
baseball.
They
no.
punted
I-
at the
I-
free throw line.
I was changing to match your. Never mind.
Oh,
don't
okay,
worry
good.
about
I
it.
get it now.
But
We're
no-
professionals, everyone.
Because that's the thing. Like Mass Effect would have some slight like weird facial things happen from time to time. There's the famous Shepard head twist.
Yes.
That's true.
I think
So
I
it-
missed that one.
It's just a glitch that could happen where he would turn to look at someone, but the like in a not like a full cinematic, but like one of the in-game ones, and
Uh-huh.
clearly
His head would pull a
Yeah.
full 360.
yeah would do a full 360 to do it, and so it's one of those things.
I
It's
never
like
saw that one myself either.
it's just if you find I didn't get it in game, but like
I've only ever saw video of it.
yeah, but it had it things from time to time, even in the best games. So you then put it in a lesser game and there's way more of them. And you're like, hey, we're going to get more physics involved because we want to do more stuff with the biotics. And they were not ready to do things with physics involved in the biotics. Because it has some of the jankiest ragdoll stuff I've ever seen. And then you'd get things floating in midair. No, this
Like
was
your,
yeah, it's just
it's like your donkey videos.
yes. At least with Donkey, he's trying to break the game usually for for
Usually.
humor purposes. These are just it was like the Star Wars Outlaws. Like the thing that I think sunk Star Wars Outlaws the most was a video of a guy. It's just a TikTok and the guy's just talking and he's just streaming the
Well,
game. He's
what's-
like, you know what? I actually think Ubisoft's done a really good game here. I actually think it's like I think the physics works pretty, and then like
Yeah, he
he's
says
on
the
a
physics
speeder.
works really well.
and he literally like goes off a slight jump, and then his entire bike and the character phase through the ground as he's talking and just fall through the map. And the guy just stares at it right as he had been complimenting the physics, and he just starts laughing and looks away. And it's like Mass Effect, Star Wars Outlaws, everybody.
That's the thing. It was just time. It could not have been timed better or worse, depending on
Yeah, for my
Depending on your
purposes, because
perspective
I was
there.
never going to buy the game, it couldn't
From
have
my
been timed
perspective,
better.
it was perfect. But for Ubisoft's perspective, that was probably the worst possible timing of that glitch occurring.
Well,
Yeah.
and it didn't help. You had the worst detection AI I've ever seen, where people literally just crouch in not even like tall grass, and everyone's like, "Where is she?"
The
You know,
stealth was yes.
That
the
just
stealth.
reminded me, and I don't know if this is true, because I never played the game myself, but there was a Alien game that was notoriously bad. Like in the recent past, like I want to say in the last 5-6 years or something like that. And after the
Alien
fact-
as in generic, or alien as the
Like-
as in the
like
franchise?
as in the
Alien,
franchise, as in the
like-
franchise, like
Okay.
you're supposed to like go around
Sigourney
with, like,
Weaver alien.
yeah. And you're supposed to go around and like just like the AI was like really like it was like a really easy game and it was kind of glitched out and then nobody really liked it. Apparently somebody went into the game and they found out that the alien's AI was set way too low to what it should have been, and when they regulated, there was like some glitch or error in the AI, and when they fixed it, then the game became an actual alien game and like terrifying jump scares and all of that and stuff. I forget which one it was. Was it Isolation? Was the name of it? Or am I thinking of a different one? Like I
Well,
remember this being a thing.
Isolation or Covenant or I
It
don't
was
know.
it was one of those, and it was in the fairly recent past, and it bombed because it was so bad. Because I remember one of the video game, a bunch of the video game reviewers that I followed, like were very upset about about how bad that game was, and it never really kind of recovered. And it was another one of those like, well, there's no point in patching it at this point. damage done. Let's move on to the next thing.
Oh.
And then like later, like some modder stumbled across the issue, fixed it, and I guess it found a second life somewhere as long as you modded it.
It's just the problem with all this is the fact that, especially with the internet, you only get one chance to make a good first impression.
That's not true.
Well,
That's not true. You can recoup. You can.
No,
recoup.
I'm not.
but
I'm
it
not
is
saying.
hard.
I'm not saying you can't recoup, but you only get the one chance to make the good first impression.
Well,
And
yeah,
so-
I mean,
The more that your game is kind of look, let's face it, Ubisoft is trying to release a game in a
game a
series every year, and so
Mhm.
if they miss their good first impression, it's screwed.
I mean, I think there have been some games that have managed to get life when they put some time to fix it. The one that comes to mind to
I
me
mean, No Man's
is
Sky is
Yeah,
quite
that's the
quite
one.
a
Thank you,
yeah.
No Man's
resurgence.
Sky. Because that
I
one's
mean,
had a
and we
bit of
were-
a resurgence. I don't think No Man's Sky had any glitches though at launch.
It was
was-
just a major disappointment.
It was just
in terms
incomplete.
of
It was
scope and scale.
No Man's Sky doesn't really kind of skates on it because it wasn't, like you said, it wasn't a glitch as much as it was way overpromised for what they got. And like
Yeah.
if I mean, like I remember the scandal of it all when it came out, and like
It's
it made
war.
the news. People were pissed. Like the CEO
Well, it's because
of
they
the company ghosted people.
Well, it's because they
Mm.
promised they promised a lot, and it's
They
just
had a
like
huge hype campaign. I mean, they were
Mhm.
they were on the Late Show, trying to hype up their game even.
Yep.
and then you get to
no,
these
I remember
worlds and
all of
they're
this, and,
very
and,
empty.
And like the CEO who everyone was calling for his head, like went MIA for something like 2 weeks or something like that. I mean, and look, this is the part of the story where I say no matter what somebody's done when it comes to video games and development and stuff like that, it's never okay to like start sending death threats and dox
Oh,
them and that type
agreed.
of stuff.
Well,
Which
yeah.
is what happened in this, which
Just a
maybe why we
game.
didn't hear from him. Like it's like, look, he sold you a crappy product. Get your money back, but let's pump the brakes there. There's no game worth like getting on an FBI watch list for.
Yeah. So, but I mean, like that one's had a bit of a resurgence. There is one game that I've been thinking of for a while now because it's one of those that it was released and it's in a horrible buggy state. I do wonder if it is actually going to get a second life thanks to fans because you pointed out, but we'd be remiss if we didn't bring up Sonic 06.
Ah,
Oh,
interesting.
Okay.
I forgot.
Sonic-
This is one of the best Game Grumps games.
Because oh my goodness.
I am an uninitiated, so inform me.
So
Yeah, I'm
Sonic
not
06, I actually
sure
saw
what
it
the
for
issue
sale
is
for
here.
like $10 once, and I'm just like, I'm gonna try it out. People bag on this game, but I think the concept looks cool, the art looks cool, like what they're trying to do with it, it all looked cool to me. And so I tried to play. I'm like, oh, okay, so it's got this big hub world, and it's got stores that are kind of making it more of an RPG, kind of
Power up your character as
Zelda
you go kind
like,
of thing.
and like I'm like this actually looks really cool, and you can buy upgrades for them from the store, and like I actually thought the concept was really cool. And then I tried to play it, and I quickly realized the problem wasn't the design of the game. The problem was it had so many bugs that it rendered it nigh unplayable. So
I don't think I ever played this.
So one early example is pretty early in the game. You need to get the light shoes, which if you've played Sonic Adventure 2, that allows Sonic to zip across a bunch of rings. So say there's a big open cliff that he has to jump across, a chasm, but there's a bunch of rings. You activate the light shoes, you zip along the rings, and that's how you get across.
So
And,
it's kind of like a grapple beam type effect.
yeah, it's kind of a grapple effect, but it's
It's
just
more
he
think of it as
follows a
Ronick is
path.
moving so fast he can skip across the rings.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's just
I'm just saying, like, practically, it fills
Ah,
a
yes.
similar role. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, once you get the light shoes, you're able to zip across rings to get to places you couldn't get without it. So one of the stages from the hub world, it has a big chasm you have to jump across, but then you can zip across it. And the very first time I got it, I'm like, oh, now I can go to this place. That's where I'm supposed to go. I jump there. I activate the zip. I zip across the rings. And then when I hit the last ring, instead of continuing my momentum forward to land where I'm supposed to, his momentum did a complete 90-degree angles and launched me straight down into the bottomless pit.
Oh no!
Well, that's not what
It
you
launched me
want.
straight into the sun.
So it's like, okay, so wait, I'm supposed to use this to get across, but it killed me
Like
instantly
evil
instead.
Donkey Kong is how I'm feeling.
And oh my goodness, there was so much
I'm
wrong.
trying to find the fight with Silver because that's the one that is famous.
Well, like another one that's fun that people like to do is this one I could see you wouldn't run into it in normal gameplay, but Sonic can loop-de-loop the giant rings, like the giant loop-de-loop. And in Sonic 06, they kind of made gravity wrap around it, so it just shows someone having their Sonic casually slowly walk the giant loop-de-loop, kind of to show like, look, they didn't implement physics the way you would expect. That one I could see people missing as you just run through, but like me, I'm trying to access the level that I just opened and it killed me. It's like that was a casual playthrough. I'm just like, oh, there were so many bugs in this game. But like but the thing is there are fans working to fix it. And I almost wonder, it's like, if all the bugs were fixed in this game, would it actually be good? I don't know.
It still have the
That's
creepy
intriguing.
interspecies relation.
I mean, 2006 though, right? Like that's a long time to revive something.
Well, that's why it's a fan project. But
For sure. But like,
This is an example of too much ambition for the game, and Sega just being like, "No, this is our release window. We're hitting it no matter what."
So
executive meddling.
I actually returned the game instead of keeping it. Part of me wonders if I should still pick it up, but
No, why would you
Oh,
do that?
this
It's
oh my
history.
goodness.
Like it's so like at this point it's so old. Like in
Yeah,
there's
they're
so many better
going to be
things to
making
do
any
with your
money if
time.
you buy it. You're getting it from a reseller.
Yeah, he's getting it for himself.
Oh, for the collection, not to. I already tried playing it. It would just be to have it in my collection. That's all.
Oh, this is like my bestie who buys every Final Fantasy game because tradition.
I have no idea what that would be like. Nope, not at all.
Yeah,
So
that'd
this
be
is
weird.
kind of
Yeah.
gets me to a philosophical point, honestly, with regards to glitches and quality of games at launch. And I refuse to pre-order. I think it's bad form. Like, always wait to see how the game actually as delivered turns out before you give them their money.
The older I get, the more I agree with that sentiment. I will pre-order on occasion.
There are very few games that I will pre-order. I pre-ordered Civilization 7.
I was
Because-
very close to it, but I just like, I got Satisfactory right now. I'll be okay.
Civilization 7 is something in me and Karina do. It's just our thing. We play it together, and it was worth the money, and I went all out for it. Normally I wouldn't do something like that, but like, and the other thing is that like pre-order is a scam because as long as you purchase it like a couple of minutes before it drops, you can still get all the pre-order bonuses if you want it. And usually with the way
Usually
way
there'll
things
be
have been
reviews already, and yeah.
right, and usually there's reviews at that point already. And usually when in some games, there's been people who've gotten like the 3 days of early access, which again is another thing. Early access as kind of a
Paid for early
I'll be-
access is a bane on
and
existence.
I'll be honest.
Paid for early access. Yeah.
I ran into this with Civilization 7. Like the UI in Civilization 7 is kind of garbage.
Yeah,
But if they hire
it's paid for
Supertrack,
beta.
It's gonna be great.
I mean, like, they're patching it, but like even I might have mentioned this on a previous episode, but like even if you go look at all of the reviews, which I think are like either mixed or slightly
Mostly-
positive,
Yeah, mostly mixed.
mostly mixed. Like even the positive reviews it was like, oh man, that's like this is such a great thing. Like it's like shaking up the format. I appreciate it, but that UI is crap, man. Like it's the worst. Like one of the things which we run into is that like one of the AIs will say, I want you to just announce this leader, and then it doesn't tell you what leader it wants you to denounce. It's just like, okay, who do you want me to who, bro? Like,
A real
tell me.
ally would know.
You know,
You know the
No.
one.
I don't know.
Yeah, but here's the thing: you don't have to actually like be an ally. You can just say, "Hey, denounce this person," and if you don't have the influence to do it, you have to. If you spent all of your influence, it's like, well, guess I'm denouncing you. Sorry, bud. I know we have like this whole big trade federation, but I guess we're going to be going to war.
I don't know.
But we can get that's a whole different non-glitch story. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still on the fence about early access because, I mean, Pirate brought up Satisfactory. I put 700 hours.
No. So there's a difference. Early access is different from paid for. Like you get 3 days early.
Okay.
80.
So a smaller studio having
usually-
a
early.
And
Early
usually
release.
early access
Yeah.
will say like, this is an early access game. We're in development, yada yada. You
Yeah.
know, going in.
yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Like part of the
Early
This is the
reason.
release.
difference of I'm paying to have a few days earlier release date. Yeah, that
Yeah,
is kind
well,
of a messed
that's
up
part.
thing.
That was
Yeah.
that was part of the Outlaws scandal. Was because
The game
You-
was unplayable. There was like a 5-day window, wasn't there?
it was a 5-day window, and there was a glitch that was causing issues. And the only way to fix it, they patched it out, but it erased people's save data. So they lost like
Mhm.
2 of
Everything
the.
they got in the
Ooh.
early.
They lost something like 3 days worth of play.
Yeah, and so
And so what they gave? I now that you're mentioning this, I do remember that
they gave them like a skin or something.
they gave them like a skin which was worth like maybe $5 in their online store. Which
Meanwhile, they paid
we could have a- we
$120
could have a whole
bucks.
podcast on these.
Oh
Okay.
no, stores.
I
Yes,
think
yeah.
you make a very good point because I mean I'm comparing something where I have a save file with 700 hours that the developers are like, well, the things have changed. Some things will be broken, but you can still load it and it'll still run. As opposed to, oh, we just completely destroyed your save file because
Well,
we're
and
going-
more importantly, when you get an early access game, you're agreeing that you're giving me this game
You're gonna be
early
beta
at
tester.
at a cheaper
Like-
price
like-
because I'm a beta tester.
yeah.
Like so like I'm pretty sure that 2, if not 4 of us here have Hades 2
Yeah.
early access. And I'm under the understanding like
Fair
I
point,
recently
yeah.
I recently got to the end of the Olympus thing, and when I got to the end of Olympus, I was like, well, you don't know what happens because we haven't written it yet, or we don't want to tell you because we want to leave some surprises in the game. But needless to say, something happens and you die. Sorry.
See, that's why I own Hades 2, but I haven't played it because I bought it thinking it was fully out.
The
And
same
then-
thing. I'm sure you've all have heard the story of me and Baldur's Gate 3 because it's the exact same thing.
But yeah, and then after
Oh, yeah.
after I bought it, I found out it's still in
It's still in
beta.
early access. Yeah.
And so I have it and I'll play it when it comes fully out. But
Well, and
I
you
don't
still
wanna
got
play
it at a cheaper price.
yes, and I don't want to play it as a beta, so it's sitting in my my Steam game list until it actually is fully released.
Well, totally fair. Like, I mean, and at least you found out beforehand. I was
Yeah.
40 hours in before I realized Baldur's Gate 3 was early access.
See, that
Oh,
happened to me
no.
with Rogue Legacy.
They only have the
2.
first act, or what? How much did they have when they were?
Oh, I mean, they had a good, decent. I guess I know I've told Splice and probably Baggins and Lunas are familiar with the story, but to summarize it real quick, it was my birthday, and as I do on my birthday, I had a little too much to drink, but I didn't have work the next day, and so who cares? And I got home, and I decided after I'd had far too much to drink, I want a new game. and I go looking in Steam, and Baldur's Gate is $40. Baldur's Gate 3 is $40. What? I didn't even know this was out. I thought this was like, in development. It's out, and I buy it, and I start playing it. And I go and I play for about a week or so, and then I'm like, my characters aren't progressing past level 4. It's kind of weird. And then I go and I play a little bit more. It's like, okay, no, now this is really weird. Like I should be somewhere close to level 5 here. And then finally I go look it up, and it's like, well, no, it's early access, and you can't get past level 4 right now. So sorry. And I was just like, oh no. And then I looked at my Steam counter. It's like, well, this is far too late for me to ask for a refund. So I guess I'm just stuck with it. And 3 years later, it came out.
Oh, it was that long? Gosh.
Oh yeah, it was in
But-
early
but
access a long
There's a
time.
reason why.
I mean, I remember
Why-
it being a while, but like, I don't know if it's that long.
Well,
yeah.
Satisfactory was like 3-4 years as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
that
like,
happened to me with Fields of Mystria. I'm still in that current.
Well, that one's not even released fully yet, right?
That's what I'm saying. The same thing happened. I bought it thinking it was
Fields of
fully
Mystria,
released.
thinking that it was
the Chrono
okay.
Trigger one that you were
No, Fields of Mystria is a
That's a Stardew clone.
it's a
Okay.
Stardew clone,
okay.
and yes, it's not even a Harvest Moon clone. It's a Stardew clone.
Okay. But like
That
but,
feels
like,
so weird though. It's not a Harvest Moon clone, it's a Stardew clone. Oh,
Look at
So
this
what I'm
point-
saying is it's a second generation clone.
to sort of bring, because it feels like we've gone way off the path here.
Yeah, we have. kinda.
To kind of bring this up, and I want to bring this back to one other thing that I did remember is, does anyone remember from the Madden games the Tiny Titan Christian Kirksey?
The what?
Go ahead and just look at what's going on the screen.
I'm
This
looking.
was a
This
was
sounds like a John
glitch.
Boyce thing.
but like this
No.
was like a real thing that was like in the game.
It looks like
Arms
John
on
Boyce. I mean,
football.
sorry, I can't not see that.
Dude, this is not a bug. This is a
Wait.
feature. That's
Oh.
amazing.
wait, was that interview done after the fact or?
I believe it was, because I seem to remember that for the next one they made a joke out of this.
But this is a real thing that actually happened.
Yes.
Unintentionally.
Tommy?
Yes. No, that was pretty much it. I just
Oh
wanted to throw
no,
that out
like
there.
was
Well,
it
you
was
know,
it
no, but-
intentional?
Oh, no, I'm sure it wasn't. I don't know for sure. But
that's
like
amazing.
there was also like, and I don't believe in professional wind sprinting, but wasn't there like a big head NBA glitch
It-
that happened as
So
well?
that was NBA Jam, and that was intentional.
Okay, well then never mind. Like
Yeah,
I don't know
They
professional wind
had
sprinting.
all sorts of codes you could put in, and that would unlock debug features and stuff like that. And one of them was big
DK
head.
mode.
All right.
Which
well,
I'm thinking of DK mode, like for GoldenEye.
I
so
if you're wrapping up, I do have one more I want to talk about.
okay, go
If
ahead.
you're- if you're-
No, yeah, go
Um,
ahead.
Okay, so this is one that it was just an absolute heartbreaking one. So have y'all played? I'm assuming most of y'all, if not all of you, have played Twilight Princess.
Yes.
Legend of Zelda
I
Twilight
actually
Princess.
haven't, but go ahead.
Okay, well,
I watched
at
somebody
one
play
point-
it. I didn't want
at
to
one
play it.
point in the game, you are looking for this giant cannon that's supposed to shoot you into the sky, and it's
Yes.
buried underground. And my friend, my friend Dylan was he went and he had been playing through the game and loving it and was just like super excited about it. And he got into the room where this cannon is, and it's like you only go into this room once to find the cannon. And he went in and said, "Okay, perfect stopping place. I'm going to save right now and go home." The game contained a glitch where if you did exactly that,
Oh no.
you are soft locked, or no, hard locked, soft locked, whatever the one is. Like
Where, where you can't progress.
the game plays, you cannot leave the room. And so he was just saved, stuck in this room forever. He tried to walk out, and it's just an invisible wall.
I didn't I didn't know that could happen in Twilight Princess.
And this is before the last non-Ganon's Castle dungeon.
Yeah, that's really close to the end. That's
So you are way into the game before this happens. And so he got in and he's excited and he goes back to play. He's like, all right, I've been waiting. I found the cannon. I'm going to get the cannon built. Nothing. And he was just like, it completely deflated him. He set down the game, walked away, and has never beaten it.
Oh,
I mean, like,
that's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
That,
I mean,
that's one of those
ah.
things you can't really blame him
Yeah.
for either.
Well, I mean that's one. I mean, I've had a game that happened to me with where it was the Seventh Saga by Enix.
Oh, classic game.
Yeah, and I got soft locked because that they decided to have a key item. It's a key item for one character, the robot, but it's not a key item for some other character. So they let you sell the key item. You just think it's, random loot that you sell for money. But I happen to be playing the character that no, that's a key item, and if you sell it,
Yep.
you're doomed.
And you can't buy it back.
You
and
can't buy it back, and it's just gone. And so
that happened to you. I've heard of it,
So-
this problem, but I didn't know that you'd actually suffered it.
oh, I did, and that's why that's when, and this is what Dylan should have done is, hey, go to a friend. Hey, do you have a save file I could play? Because a neighbor that I had lent the game to got to the final boss. I mean, different character. He was playing as the demon character, whereas I was playing as the robot. But
Right.
I at least fought the final boss in his save file, so I could at least say I've beaten the game. Gosh dang it! And it's too bad Dylan wasn't able to get a save file from a friend. But
Yeah.
Still, that's rough.
that is rough.
Well,
But
and the thing is, like, you can load the game, and he's just running around this room. He's like, "How do I get out?" And I finally looked it up on the internet, and apparently this was just a game-breaking bug.
Oh,
And this wasn't in the this was before the days of, oh, we'll just send out a patch.
yeah.
Well, yeah, because it's just one of those, we missed a soft lock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, I want to end on a more positive note.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about what might be the most famous glitch that has led to an entire category of things. We talked about how glitches are needed for speed
Wave
runs
caching.
now.
Oh.
The backwards long jump.
The backwards jump. Yes.
I'm going to have Lunisar explain how the backwards long jump works.
Oh gosh. I'm trying to think if I actually know all the mechanics of it, but I mean, in Mario 64, one of the fastest movements you have is doing the long jump, right? And when you're playing casually, you use it all the time, just a long jump to kind of move around. But the backwards long jump is kind of a way that the speedrunners are able to basically
Sequence
store.
break.
Well, they're able to store all the momentum added of multiple long jumps together, and so
Very similar to bunny hopping.
Yeah, it's very similar to bunny hopping. So it's like I don't know exactly how you pull it off, but he's basically facing the wrong direction, but all these long jumps are like adding together, and then when they let it go, you just fly backwards at an insane speed that lets you clip through like the entire
because
game.
suddenly you're going faster than the game's ability to check.
Yeah, so it's like it doesn't even detect the collision because you're already past it before it does a check that frame.
I love watching Mario 64 speedruns.
Oh, it's amazing.
Gosh, it makes me think of these terminal montage videos.
Oh,
Have you seen
yep.
those?
Yes, terminal montage is an absolute
Super
blessing.
Mario or,
Oh,
I love how terminal montage just mixes the speed run with the actual plot of the game. Because like it's the same thing in the Super Metroid terminal montage video where Samus is arm pumping the entire time.
yeah, yeah.
No, let's see, where's the big one? So this there it is. That's what I was looking for.
The stairs.
They use it to
Yeah.
get up the endless stairs. Woohoo! Woohoo! Woohoo!
As you get through the
There you
teleport.
go.
because you're moving so fast it doesn't even detect that you're in the area to teleport you back to the
No,
beginning.
the first time I saw a speed run and someone explained to me, it's like, no, they skip the endless stairs. I'm like, you can't skip the endless stairs. Like they do this glitch thing. And then I saw it for the first time and I just stared, but what just happened? Because like this, I can wrap my head around everything he's doing here. Like this is just parkour.
Right.
And just, I know exactly where everything is. I am the one. But the backwards long jump is just pure black magic, and I love it. Anyway, all right.
Yep.
Let's wrap things up. So, glitches, they're fun. Kamizite, do you have anything you'd like to promote?
Yes, I would like to promote my fantastic partner Karina J and her story, Entangled Enemies. Unfortunately, she did not win the Inkies, but I mean, like, she was nominated as one of the best stories last year, so that's pretty awesome.
So check it out. Check her out on Tapas. As always, I will drop the link in the self-promotion area of the Splice stream, and also Splices and League with the Ghosts. Don't fall for it.
You shut your filthy mouth. I have a Ghostbusters jacket.
That's why no one but me sees it coming. You're the John Cena of the Splice stream.
Then
You
why do we
just-
still?
You just dashed the hopes of dreams and of children everywhere last Saturday.
Oh,
Splice, why do we still have a Quantum
Goodness.
Ghost?
I haven't
Goodness,
seen
you're
him in a
saying-
while.
You saying Ghostbusters just reminded me of the Ghostbusters NES game.
Not great.
gosh.
Oh man.
No, it wasn't.
Oh man. I saw it for sale for $1 the other day.
I remember playing.
That
the
sounds about
Ghostbusters
correct.
Atari game.
Anyway, Lunasar, would you like to promote something?
Sure, I will promote GameDev.tv because they put a couple of courses, and one's essentially how to make a 2D style Zelda game, and the other one's how to make a 3D style Zelda game. So I think that's pretty cool.
Have they been helping you out?
Yeah.
Nice. Petrivka,
Nothing to promote. Just happy to be here.
we like you being
You
here
can
too.
You can
Baggins,
promote Lizzie's stream.
Yeah, promote Lizzie's stream, Protivka.
I'll let Looney do that.
Well, he already went. It's
didn't.
up to you now.
I don't know the details. Sorry.
Lizzie Petrichor on Twitch.
Sorry, we're just razzing Looney.
But well, she's not streaming the rest of the week, so she's gone to well, a family thing.
Oh no. Okay.
all right. Bagginses,
The Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies. We are about to wrap up our last regular stream, actually, in not this next Monday, but a week after that.
2 weeks after that.
2 weeks after that. Sorry, an episode after that. If you like Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere books, we talk about them, and right now we're discussing his most recent book, Winded Truth. And so this next episode, we're going to be talking about Shallan and her crew and their adventures in book 5. And then in the last one, we're going to talk about Adolin and his crew. And then that'll be it for a little while. So definitely check it out while you've got a chance. Join us live. And we record every other Monday night from at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time, 10:30 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv or not twitch.tv, youtube.com/Cosmere Studies.
All right. And you can always find me twitch.tv/splice stream. We're going to be doing more Quizzard on this Saturday. So show up and participate. If you're listening to this, I guarantee you will like Video Game Trivia Day. It's a ton of fun. We start that at 10 a.m. No, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern.
Cool. Well, I think we